Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to be going through my January bullet journal setup, and this month I decided to go with a snowflake theme. I wanted to keep sort of a wintry theme into January, but I didn't want something that related too much to Christmas or any other holiday, so I felt going for like snowflakes and sort of just snow in general was a good way to bring in that sort of winter theme without tying it to any explicit holidays. So for the quote page I have here opposite to the title page, I decided to go with the quote, "We are like a snowflake, all different in our own beautiful way." And what I did here for sort of the more header type words is I went with this font that has like snow that sort of just fell onto the letters and has just piled up. And I found that was a great way to tie in the snow to like the snowflake theme without it being too plain or too over the top. And you can see I'm doing the same thing here with the January title page. And what I actually did for this is for the snow itself I used a thinner micron. I actually used my 0.01, and then for the letters themselves I used a thicker one, and here I'm using my 0.05. This sort of gives the words themselves, like the letters, a little bit more depth, whereas the snow is a little bit more, doesn't stand out as much. And then here I'm going in with my zebra midliners and coloring the snow. I sort of went for more pastel colors here, so you'll see I use a lot of light blues and light purples as opposed to anything darker, just to make it seem not as aggressive but sort of a little more cozy. And here I'm going in drawing in some of the snowflakes, again using those pastel colors, and just try my best to make sure all of these snowflakes look different, which was a more difficult feat than I thought it was going to be. For the January title page itself, I wanted to make the snowflakes sort of look like they were hanging down from the top of the page. So this is why I went in and added those little dots from where the snowflake actually was up to the top. I felt this created a little bit more separation from the quote page to the title page and gave it a little bit more intrigue. Now I'm going on to my calendar spread. So again, for the header here, I went with this snow font, and again using a thinner marker for the snow. So here I'm using the 0.05, and then I'll be using a 0.08 to actually do all the lettering. And for the calendar itself, I actually wanted to create like the snow look on the header on the calendar as well. So I actually went in and created the snow sort of like dripping down from the top of the calendar, just to sort of tie the theme all the way through. For the calendar, I did do thinner lines for the interior boxes and then use some thicker lines for the exterior ones, just to give it a little bit more depth. Again, going in with my micron, or midliners rather, and doing the light purple here. And then using the lighter blue on January. And then I actually went in with a darker blue for the snowflakes in the background, which you'll see in a moment, just to sort of create a little bit more color in the spread. I felt like using the two colors here, the light blue and the light purple, was a little bit too limited. On the calendar itself, you'll see I use these three colors as sort of like little bubbles where I will write in the dates, and I felt this was a good way to just bring a little bit more color into the spread as well. Something I didn't do on this page was actually write in Sunday through Saturday. This is something I went back and added later. I actually didn't even think of it until I started using this spread a couple of days ago when I was planning out my schoolwork. So you won't see me add in the days of the week here, but I do add in the dates. This page here is where after or throughout the month, when I have anything significant that I like to remember about the month, I will go in and draw in like a little doodle for that memory. And I do this by creating Polaroid sized boxes, and I just create a little doodle. So for example, New Year's, I would draw like a sort of New Year's reminiscent doodle just to sort of remember that that was a significant thing that happened for me in that month. And then on the right side here, I'm creating my playlist. So throughout the month, I try to find songs, whether they're new to me or just new releases, that sort of stick out to me for that month. And then I have a cute little playlist to refer back to that reminds me of things I discovered throughout the month. And then here on the memories page, I'm going in with just a Crayola super tip and creating these snowflakes. I decided to go with some different colors just because I felt it was a little bit too monochromatic with just the limited colors I was using in the first couple spreads, so I wanted to change it up a little bit. And then for the playlist, to tie the snowflakes into it again, I decided to try and make it look like they were behind the boxes so I could continue the theme across the pages. And here I created a brain dump page. So in the past I used to have a couple pages where I'd write like the things I wanted to check out for the month or any sort of ideas I had for the month. And instead of creating specific pages for these, I decided just to create one conglomerate that sort of could house all these thoughts or things that I wanted to check out, instead of dedicating like 2, 3, 4 pages to these separate ideas that never seem to get fully filled out. I don't know if this spread will work. I might not include it in the next coming months, but I figured it was a good thing to try out. Now I'm moving on to my mood tracker. So for this, I created a sort of stylized snowflake, and each section is a different day of the month. I initially had a little bit of a problem trying to create all 31 days, and I actually ended up with 32 spaces, and I figured that was better than being one short. So it does hit 32 instead of 31, but that's the best I could do. And here I'm just going and writing the different moods that I want to track throughout the month. So I have like happy, sad, excited, angry, relaxed, and anxious. On the right side here, I have a sleep log. I have a Fitbit, so it's a good way for me to sort of have an easier reference to refer back to see how I'm sleeping throughout the month versus just constantly checking my app. I have a good space where I can look back and see the month as a whole. So then along the top, I start at 3 p.m. and go to about 2 p.m. This way, I'm hitting like a large chunk of time, so I can also keep track if I'm doing anything like napping throughout the day. And then I have the dotted lines to refer to my ideal range where I would like to sleep, so between like 10:30 and 8:30. And then here I'm adding the different colors for the mood tracker, and then along the bottom of the sleep log, I'm creating the different colors for the different sleep scores I would get from my Fitbit tracker. Next, moving on, I also decided to include a step tracker. It was a good way for me to see where I'm falling behind. So, for example, if I'm referring back to it after doing like assignments, I can see that when I have more work, I'm not getting as many steps in, so it's a good thing to keep track of, and also keeps encouraging me to continue trying to keep those steps up. And then on the other page here, I have my workout tracker, again returning to that snow font, just because I felt the workout was a little bit more of a header type than like the step tracker or the sleep log. For the workout tracker, what I decided to do was create a independent box for each of the days where I could color it in with the type of workout I did. So for example, walk, run, whether I did an ab, legs, or arm workout. So that way I had like a reference to see what I was doing, make sure I was getting to every part that I wanted to get to. And then again, color coding the different workouts that I will hopefully be doing throughout the month. And then here I'm going on to setting up my first rolling weekly for the month. So the way this works is on the left hand side, for the days of the week, you write out your hard deadlines. So for example, appointments or assignments that are due or birthdays. And then on the right hand side, you have a running task list of things you'd like to get done throughout the week. This makes it easier to delegate things and also doesn't give you as many firm deadlines, but encourages flexibility throughout your week. And then for the days of the week, just to sort of tie in that snowflake theme again, here on the last pages, I decided for each day to have a different snowflake, and then just to write over top of them the day of the week and the date. And this is my January spread. So I really like how this spread turned out. I found it really simple, I found it a little cozy, and I loved how the colors turned out. I also found it not too difficult to set up and didn't take that much time, which is something I'm really going for with these spreads, especially being in school. I want a spread that doesn't take an immense amount of time to set up so that I'm not losing focus on my studies. And then here you can see my rolling weekly for the other weeks in January. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next month for February setup.